Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Inviting all the brilliant pathfinders to verify their knowledge to end even the greatest odyssey. This is New Fora 23 second chapter. I'm Nipuni Hera, your moderator of today's event, and Tejani Bandara will be joined as my fellow moderator soon. Now, the program team member, New Fora 23, Ms. 𝗥𝘄 I invite you to conduct the welcome speech.
Good evening and welcome to the New Fora 23 second webinar evening. Tonight, we embark on a journey into the vast expanse of the universe, guided by our estimated chief guest speaker, Dr. 𝗥𝘄 a senior lecturer at the Agribusiness Management Department, Faculty of Agricultural Sciences, the 𝗥𝘄 University of Sri Lanka. Dr. 𝗥𝘄's insights will illuminate our path, bringing us closer to the main purpose of this webinar. We extended our heartfelt appreciation to the advisors of the IUSL chapter, Dr. Ruminder, Dr. Chamila Dias, and Professor Rohan Senathira for gracing us with their presence. Their wisdom and guidance fill our universal quest. A warm welcome is also extended to all the committee members of SET Sri Lanka, with special acknowledgement to SET IUSL President, Secretary, and the entire Executive Committee member. Your dedication and hard work pave the way for this extraordinary expedition. To all the divisional managers, assistant divisional managers, and committee members from various chapters, your presence enriches our collective with diversity and collaboration. But let us not forget our main audience, the school and the university students who harbor a keen interest in the exploration of space. Your curiosity and passion fuel our mission, and we welcome you with open arms and heart full of joy. As we embark on this cosmic journey, let us also explore the realm of spaceport sustenance for our bodies as we explore the wonders of the universe. Just as our minds seek knowledge beyond the stars, let our taste buds savor the innovations that fuel our cosmic exploration. Thank you all for joining us on this 𝗥𝘄 expedition. Together, let us reach for the stars and the beyond. Thank you.
Hello, good evening to you all. I'm Dr. 𝗥𝘄 here. I think you can hear me. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much. So today, I think I have a very new setup, so I'm extremely sorry. Little bit, I had a challenge to get the setup done. Okay. So here, I think it is better to switch off my camera. Normally I am doing like that. So I'll keep my camera turned off. And then let's discuss about the space food. And I will give a little bit introduction about myself as well. So I think there are 16 participants, including me, right? Okay. Let's see. Today we are going to discuss about how to use raw material for space food. When it comes to the space food, this is kind of a new experience actually when it comes to a country like Sri Lanka. Space food is a different story. It stays like a novel area for us to invent and also to see. Let's see more. When it comes to my background, I will give a little bit introduction how and why I am going to explain this. How I am becoming related into this industry. So when comes my background, I'm a senior lecturer in 𝗥𝘄 University of Sri Lanka, attached to the Department of Agribusiness Management. And we have a new course called Food Business Management. So I am the coordinator of that. So that's how normally my discipline is under food science. So I was been working as an assistant professor in 𝗥𝘄 University, South Korea for 3 years before I come. So I completed my PhDs, postgraduates, MSc, everything in South Korea in the same university. And I got my BSc degree, the basic degree from the 𝗥𝘄 University of Sri Lanka. So here are my work. And of course, I'm a food scientist. And normally my expertise lies on the food product development, food biotechnology, dairy technology, and functional food. So space food also comes under functional food. So when it comes to the goal, I always believe that students need to develop their practical skills through the experiments, modern approaches, and of course, they have to recognize the current issues. What are the real problems do we have in food industry? And when it comes to the opportunities, like I always try to introduce new things to our country. And I wanted to give some collaborative work, do some collaborative work with another countries as well. So when it comes to studies, I always believe self-studies are the most important thing for a student. When it comes to the space food, how I attach to the space food. So here there is an eco-astronomy. This is eco-astronomy company in Sri Lanka. They are working like very closely with NASA. And you can see they have collaborative work with 3, 6, 9, 10 countries. So I've been giving lectures and do some projects with them. So that's how I engaged with space food. So I don't know how the Open University searched me when it comes to the space food. I'm thankful for that, because this is the area that I'm currently working on. When it comes to the space food, let's see what is space food first. So normally, I think there are some students, they can speak with me, right? Okay, so we are very new, right? So you may not speak with me. So at least you can raise your hands, right? So if you like to engage with this session, so please raise your hands. You know how to raise hands, right? Okay, 1. I need the participation. Otherwise, it is really boring, right? Just listening to the lecture. Let's do raising hands. Okay. Yep. I'm waiting. I have a lot of time. Okay, so it's a considerable amount. Let's move, okay? So I really like when you can engage with me. That is how the interaction builds up, right? Okay, when it comes to the space food, normally we make food for the space, for the missions of astronauts. So when it comes to this, we have to think so many aspects. So because we are not making food for this world, we want to bring something for the universe from us. So at that time, we have to think, who are these people? When it comes to the main point, we have to introduce a balanced diet. So that is very important, because nutritionally, we have to balance the diet. Otherwise, when it comes to food, we know food has a makeup. So it has a chemical, physical, everything, like it has a natural biology makeup. So when it comes to the product or process from out of that natural makeup, we have to get the real benefits out of it. So when it comes to the astronaut, as an astronaut, he has some expectations because he is not in the real environment. He's always stay out of the space, right? So at that time, we have to understand their psychology and the nutritional requirement and their physiology as well. So here, balanced diet is very, very important because they have to stay healthy. And when it comes to the nutrition, we have to provide always adequate nutrition. So maybe they need sometimes more proteins, more carbohydrates. So it is depending. So we have to search, we have to know, we have to study what are the nutritional requirements, and then we have to provide. So when we make up the space food, so we need to know, we have to balance the diet with adequate nutrition. And always it should be safe and convenient storage because it should be easy to store and it should be safe because we cannot bring microbes with food, right? So we have to always, we have to find options to keep this food for a long time. And that's why it should need, definitely it should have to have a long shelf life because it is not like in the ground, right? They cannot buy the food as they want. We have to preserve them and we don't know when we come back. So we have to keep them, the food, as long as we can. So we need a long shelf life and we need enriched vitamins and nutrients. So their requirement, nutritional requirement. So when we think about their nutritional requirement, we know it should be enriched with vitamins and other nutrients. And of course, it should be easily digestible. This is very, very important because they cannot be sick after eating our food, right? Because as the food processors or manufacturers or the scientists, normally for the astronauts, normally the companies that who are making the food, they are scientists. So scientists always have to think about the health levels of the people. So when it comes to the digestibility, it is important to think that it should be easily digestible. And then psychology, right? This is very, very important because they are out of the space and they cannot see the natural backgrounds, natural makeups, and everything is very new and very not natural, right? What we are using in day-to-day life is really totally different. And the things they are seeing, totally different. So their psychology, because they are very far from their families, they have lots of things when we think about their mentality. So when it comes to the food, we know always when we eat food, we enjoy. Even though astronauts, they have to enjoy, right? So we cannot differentiate. Especially for them, we have to think about their physiology, like psychology. And physiology and psychology is very, very important. So that's why it is physiologically appropriate and also psychologically appropriate. And then we have to always bring light. It means we cannot give very mass products. So because they can take out of this, when they move from the earth, when they move to the out of the space, so then they have to bring something light. They have very limited items they have very limited mass to carry. So always food takes some place, takes some part, takes some weight. So at that time, we have to send many food as much as possible. So at that time, we have to keep them light, right? And well packaged, fast to serve. Why we think, say fast to serve? Because they have very compact space. right? Compact space. They have no very huge spaces. So, and also they cannot keep some waste. That's why we have, when we manufacture some food or when we design some food, at least we are making the concept for the space food. So we have to think about fast to serve, require minimal cleaning ups, and then leave little waste. So normally when we think about bread, like crumbly things, so there are some particles are falling off, right? So we cannot recommend that those type of. Okay, so let's move to the next one. What types? So let's see what type of food are the space. So what type of food we can create for the space? So let's see. The first one, beverages, right? Beverages, normally, when we think about space food, many food comes from freeze drying technique. If anybody knows what is the meaning of freeze drying, please raise your hands. Freeze drying. So I'm going to tell about freeze drying if you don't know. Okay. So if you do not know about freeze drying technique, please raise your hands. So if you are not raising hand for the both, then I'm confusing. Okay, good. Okay. So if you don't know, I would like to explain. Freeze drying means normally we know drying, right? When we dry some food, it means we are removing water. So there are some different techniques that we are using. Sun drying is the very common one in Sri Lanka. So sun drying, we know, everybody knows, right? It is drying and we remove the water. And when it comes to the scientifically, technologically, when we improve it into the technology, so we are using dehydrators these days, right? Vacuum dehydrators, there are lots of dehydrate types. And then comes to the freeze drying. What freeze drying is doing, we take the food and we freeze it. We freeze it. And then we remove not the water, not the moisture, but we remove the ice. That is the difference. When we remove the ice, the remaining part is very, very light, very light. And freeze drying products, normally we can keep, how many years do you think freeze drying product, if we properly sealed, how many years we can keep? Yeah, you can use chat thread. You can message me on chat. Tell me, how do you think, how long we can keep? What do you think? Freeze dry. So if you properly preserved, we can keep it. Yeah, there are some. Are there any answers? We can keep them more than 25 years, right? More than 25 years. So this is some kind of a novel technique that we are using. But when it comes to the country like us, so for the common food, we cannot make. This is a bit expensive. But for the space food, this is the common technique nowadays we are using. So beverages, always we are giving as some kind of dry mixes, dry powders. So when we put water again into the powder, then it is very delicious because it has the natural taste, it has natural flavors, it has natural colors. So freeze drying is very, very safe. There are no microbes. You can keep for a long time. And it is very light, right? So beverages are one kind of product, and fresh foods. You may think that people, the astronauts, they do not bring fresh food. No, they bring fresh food with them because just a moment, please. Okay, so when it comes to the fresh foods, of course, fresh foods we have to provide for the astronaut. As I told you before, we give this for make their psychological, we think about their psychological factors, because we cannot give them always dry food because they might feel very tired sometimes, right? So, and they will feel really missing the food. So because of those reasons, we are sending fresh foods as well. So there are some techniques nowadays we can keep for a long time in any food in natural makeup, controlling the temperature. So we can send fresh food. Also we can do innovations, because as an example, the temperature for keeping mango is different when we compare the temperature we keep for the like the temperature we are using to keep the apples. So different. So we can do experiments. We can find the best time, the temperatures, the conditions, the air conditions, the packaging, everything, right? So fresh food is also we can provide to the astronauts. And then irradiated meat, normally beef steaks, like jerky-like products. So we can use irradiation, you know, right? Radiated treatments. So this, when you think microwave is kind of a radiation. So some people think they are very unhealthy. No, not like that, right? Microwave food are not unhealthy. It is a myth. Microwave food are unhealthy when it is contacting with some kind of, as an example, when it contacts with some kind of bad plastic. So then it is unhealthy. Otherwise, microwaves or irradiation process are not unhealthy. So normally we have to get FDA approval. So irradiated meat also we can send. It is a popular food when it comes to the astronauts. And then we are calling intermediate moisture food. So this is some food that has some kind of moisture, water, but still we can keep some for a long time in the freezing conditions, right? So normally sausage, jerky-like products. And then again, natural forms like cookies, nuts, or some energy bars like products. So these are like very dry products, but shelf stable. It means we can keep for a long time. And then this area is also we can produce new things, very healthy products, nutritional food. And also then rehydratable. It means after dehydrating, we remove some water, and then while they are eating, they can add. Have you used some seaweeds-like products? So seaweeds-like products, they are taking as like very dehydrated products, because after dehydration, a huge volume, we can make it for a very small volume. So we can make it like that. And then thermostabilized food. Thermostabilizing means we are providing some kind of heat treatment, and we change the food makeup of the food, and we can keep, we stop the enzyme activities, microbial activities, and chemical activities. And then we make it, we try to keep it for a long time. And then extended shelf life bread products. So normally these bread products, of course, you have to know, we are sending for the space more than, if we can keep them only for more than 18 months, right? Other than that, normal bread products, we cannot send. So if we can keep them more than 18 months, you know, 18 months means, right? 1.5 years. So if we can keep them, so we are recommending it as a space food. So these type of food you can see as space food, right? Okay. So then let's see the current trends in the food industry. So I want to show you some examples. So I want to get some inspirations from the food, from the technologies, and from the concepts. Of course, there are some concepts for a country like us, for the student like us. So we cannot do these type of products, but still we can make up the concept, right? And you can get some kind of inspiration for your products. Okay, let's see cultured meat. Have you ever heard of cultured meat? Please raise your hand if you know what is cultured meat. Okay, cultured meat is a product that this has been introduced in, I think, 2000. The concept has been emerged, but it has been implemented after 2013. So what we are doing here is we are producing meat in the laboratory. So how we can produce meat in the laboratory? So this is actually, this has done, you can see Jason Matney. So this is a scientist, actually he is a USA scientist, American scientist. You can see his it is very interesting. That's why I put his specialty in like within the brackets. You can see he has the PhD in applied economics. So he is not related to any food, but he is of course a scientist, a very good scientist. So he created, as I can remember, he created a group of 60 scientists together. And his first idea is to create meat within the laboratory, because we use tissue engineering in agriculture. You know, by using tissue culture, we can produce lots of plants, right? So if we take one cell, we can create lots of plants. So same technique goes here. So his idea was make reality. And nowadays, I think in Singapore, in India also, there are lots of cultured meat they are producing. In Singapore market, there are some products as well. So there are lots of countries now using Canada, USA, UK, of course, the developed countries, and also Korea, China, Japan, like countries as well. And very closely, India, Singapore, like countries also using this cultured meat. For us, still, we are not using it. But there is a huge potential because we are not killing any animal. We don't want to kill animals for this, right? And the problem is the people might think that this is unsafe or unhealthy. But of course, this is very recommended, very natural makeup. So it is just meat, right? It is, if you want to grow animal cells, like tissue cells, like plant tissue cells, it is very similar. Similar concept goes. It's kind of different engineering techniques, of course, we are using, but still the basic concept is similar. So this meat comes from the laboratory under a laboratory condition. So when it comes to the potential for this as a space food, it is a very good concept. And also, they are not producing any kind of unhealthy gases for the environment, and people do not want to worry about killing animals. And also, it is very secure for food, because if we have the laboratory, we can create meat, right? So think how nice it is, right? Of course, we have to provide ingredients, but still we can do that in a laboratory. So cultured meat is a novel concept, not actually novel. it's older than 24 years, but still it is a good concept, very easy method to utilize as a space food. And next one is snacks. So normally we call mini meals for astronauts as well as for us, for students. This is a new area, like a very convenient area. So you can think and develop some food products under this. So when it comes to the snacks, of course, you have to give adequacy. It means the person who are eating, we have to provide all the nutrition they need. We have to provide adequate nutrition, right? And then we have to balance. We should not mismatch the balance of the nutrients. As an example, if your body needs 70% protein, then of course we have to maintain the 70% protein from our bar, nutrition bar, or any kind of snack we are providing. And we also give lots of variety with the snacks. So we can use local things, and we can give lots of varieties. And then upcycled food. Upcycled food means like the food that it's not recycled, okay? Upcycled. It means we can give some kind of more value to the products. As an example, if we are using the husk of the grain. So we can create more valuable food, right, than its natural makeup. So snacks is a good area that we can produce things, we can think new concepts for the food. And flavors. Flavors are like very important, very huge industry in the food industry, right? So normally people like bold and exotic flavors. It means traditional flavors and some strong flavors. So for the astronauts also, we have to provide some kind of different flavors, some natural flavors. So then they might have different kind of feelings, right? So this is kind of a game with feelings. So flavors are always supporting. So I just gave some kind of examples. So like ginger, cinnamon, green tea, black tea, there are lots, right? So when we think about our country, we have lots of exotic and bold flavors we can introduce. Just I gave some kind of examples for ice creams, like rum and bacon, durian, butterbeer, garlic. Like there are lots of, this is not like I'm not explaining that we have to give some kind of ice creams for the astronauts, but of course we are giving, right? And here I wanted to show you with one product, one type of product, we can change the flavors and we can change whole environment different, right? So that is the main thing. So flavors is a huge industry that you can play. And next one is anti-stress food technology. When it comes to the food technology, we are using anti-stress. So you can see this is PepsiCo, the product, you can see, right? So now, when you see the product, what do you feel? Any ideas? So my students normally speaking, but you are very new to me, that's why you are not speaking. What do you feel? Can you use the chat thread? When you see the product, how you feel? So can you see some kind of moon there? Night feeling, dark feeling, some calmness. So everything is there, right? So this is kind of a company, PepsiCo company introduced this product, Driftwell. So you can see blackberry and lavender flavor, non-carbonated drink, sugar-free, calorie-free beverage. Let's see again. Blackberry and lavender flavored, non-carbonated, sugar-free, calorie-free beverage. So this is a very good food item for space. Why? It is calorie-free and it is sugar-free and non-carbonated. We cannot send the carbonated drinks for the space because you know there are some anti-gravitation effect. So we cannot send because carbonated drinks, it has some kind of air bubbles within the product. So we cannot send, right? So this is PepsiCo is a very good example because they give some kind of anti-stress. I wanted to highlight that concept, right? Because people, when it comes to the anti-stress, they cannot, like stress, they cannot sleep, they cannot think, they feel misery, depression, right? So these things, first, as a solution for these things, we can give some kind of products. So PepsiCo is kind of, so we see contains ingredient known help with sleep. So it includes like L-theanine, magnesium like minerals to make the people sleep well. So it is kind of anti-stress food. This is another new area that you can work on. And when it comes to next one, quick and safety packaging. I told you about this. So we normally we see some on-go drive-through like products, like very quick and safety packaging like this. We have to, we can provide some kind of individual packages for the astronauts because they can keep for a long time and they can use one individual time. They can take it and consume, right? And then convenient packaging. Packaging should be very convenient for them. It should not be very hard to open, right? So convenient packaging. and then single serve packaging. And when it comes to the health and wellness, digital applications, it is also very important and interesting area. So can you see this? So this is like that is like born to boost immunity. And they're like those kind of products we can introduce. And when it comes to the natural herbal products, we can introduce like functional foods, like probiotics food products. And you can see 𝗏. This is very interesting one. You can see 𝗏. This is we call personal food or customized food. So this is 𝗏. This is kind of a energy bar, right? What they do, there is the website. If you can search it, 𝗏 bars, okay, in internet. So you can see what is the company doing. Normally, they are providing pouches, and people can insert their condition, the flavors, like favorite, their favors, about the flavors, the nutritional requirements, and their health, everything their input. And then, according to the customer, the company is customizing the product. And then they send the package to the customer's doorstep. So this is kind of a digitalized item that personalized food, right? So then the food marble, can you see this? I don't know whether you can hear this. I tried to. Can you hear? Can you hear the sound? If yes, please raise your hand.
Yes, madam.
Okay, I will play them. It's not sharing the sound, right? I will try it again. Can you hear us?
This so 1 billion people worldwide. That's every 8 of us. The most frustrating part is unable to identify which foods are the problems for you, as we each digest food differently. We can rid this guesswork by making leading digestive science available in your home for the first time. Track your food and symptoms in the app and use the breath test device to measure your unique response to different foods. Over time, you can build your unique digestive profile by tracking how well you digest different foods. Instead of guessing which foods might cause problems, you can see real-time data on how your body digests different foods. You can learn more at foodmarble.com.
So what is that? The product is called Food Marble. So you can see that we are doing some kind of breath test. So after doing the breath test, they are calculating and they are analyzing what are the problems we do have, maybe in digestion. And then they are providing the best solution for the people. So likewise, there are some lots of digital applications associated with the people, like the food. And this is very interesting now. So this is like we called Tufts Food Center. So this Tufts is a university in USA. So there are some, actually the students with the professor, they developed this. So you can see they are mounting this kind of very small digital equipment on your tooth, right? And then you can, this there is a sensor and it identifies glucose, salt, and alcohol intake into the body. So how much you take glucose, how much do you take salt, how much do you take alcohol? Like things they are calculating, right? And you can see it is mounted, right? And very small size, 2 milliliters by 2. And then data transmitted with smartphone via radio frequency signal. So this is very small sensor, but they are transferring the data to the smartphone using a smartphone and radio as a radio frequency signal. And then this innovation is useful for medical purposes, people who with special diets and people who want to track what they are eating. So how do you think this type of food for the space, right? So this is very interesting area, that interesting product, right? And it is under digital makeups. So digital makeups, I want to show you, maybe these are very high-tech, right? But still, you may have the most high-tech inspirations, right? So that's why I wanted to show you what is the industry now available. So actually, this invention is, as I can remember, 5 years back, right? Okay. And then again, easy meal making process. So normally the space, we like to use this type of bowls, fresh fruit, healthy ingredients like we made, packed, sealed, and then it is readily available, right? Easy to follow recipes, very easy method to make up that. And then food packaging also has different kind of innovations when it comes to the food packaging, like edible. You can see these are some actually in my lab, my students produced. So I just show you as an example. So edible packages are very good options because we want no waste left, right, in space. And it should be convenient, as I told you, and degradable. And also the bio-natural chemical should be preserved. Okay, so this is another area, no waste food. I would like you to see this. Yeah. So you could see in this video, they used natural orange peel to create the cup, right? So no waste food type. So, and this is virtual reality product actually. You can see the people that they can wear some virtual, you can see headsets, right? So normally when it comes to the food, you know, we have to feel, we have to taste, we have to smell the things. So they are using this kind of headset, and then they are eating hydrocolloid gels. Those gels are very similar. It means only the shape and color is different, but the people are seeing it as different food. Because the aroma, you can see they are just give some kind of aroma as well, like with the senses. They give some touch feelings for their fingers. So they are like in virtual world and using and eating food. They feel eating different type of foods, but they are actually eating one single type of product, right? So I'm not going to explain this much more. If you are interested in, because I cannot take much time from you. So I think I will send this presentation. So if you are interested in it, you can read and go through. So I just give you some kind of video. So I'm sorry, my internet is not very stable. So that is some kind of virtual experiences. So this is also some kind of virtual experience you can see. This is from a naked restaurant, like a naked tree restaurant coming from Japan. So there are lots of inspirations from those for space food, right? So that's why I wanted to show you. So I think you have seen lots of things that for today, I think I'm going to stop here. I'm sorry, let's go on. So I want to stop there because I think you may get some kind of inspirations about what type of space foods are available. But when it comes to the product development, I think you may learn about some product development process. So if not, I think don't go just with the product development, because product development is very interesting area. So you have to think, you have to do the research, and you have to get some kind of good idea generation first, and then you have to do some kind of data market search, and these are available, and can we buy the raw materials, how much that we are going to produce this, because we have to do a business, right? So these things you have to think. And then if you need some kind of information or any kind of advices, you can ask me anytime, or you can just contact me, okay? So I think I'll stop by here. Is there anything you want to talk or anything to ask?
Now it's the time for Q&A session. Now you can submit any question you have regarding webinar. Please put your question on chat box.
Not only the questions, you can ask. Okay, so when it comes to the summary, what should be considered when selecting raw materials for space food? Okay, now you have seen what type of food that we are recommending. So at that time, you can go to local food items, that what are the things that provide those things. As an example, if you want to get high vitamin and high nutritional value, so think about that aspect. So if you want to go through like balanced diet food, then go through like that. Like we have to match what we require. That is the main thing. So as an example, think about cinnamon. Cinnamon, when we think as it is a spice in Sri Lanka, very valuable. We can do lots of value addition product. It has new flavors. It has the nutritional value. It has exotic value, right? So there are lots of things we can do. So if you want to find this the raw material, first you have to think about the finished product. What I'm going to do. And if you want to think about the raw material, then think about the other characteristics of the space food. So you have to match. That is the main. Normally, if you are developing a food, basically go through local food. So that is what I am recommending as a food scientist, because we have to bring all the our values, and of course that is our strength, right? You cannot play in another person's backyard. You can do it very well in your backyard, right? So that is why when you plan something, always try to use local ingredients. Okay, there is another question. How do you balance the need for variety and flavor in space food with the constraints of limited storage space and weight restrictions? Yeah, of course. So that's why we have to go through the techniques. So when it comes to the variety and flavor, if we want to, as an example, if we want to give some flavors and some kind of nutritional requirements, we have to think about the storage space, right? That is what you are asking. It depends actually. As an example, as I told you, sometimes we are sending very fresh food to the space, right? It is depending on the requirement and the makeup of the importance of the food product. So if you are making a very good food product, even though it is a little bit weight, but they will consider it to take, right? But the problem is if you can make it lighter as possible, so then it is very convenient for them. So that is why we have to use the technology. So, always, everybody cannot make space food, right? The food scientists should. So that is why we have to think about the techniques. Okay, how do you address the dietary preferences and cultural considerations of astronauts when designing space menus? So as an example, in the natural makeup, nowadays what is happening is when they introducing new astronauts into the space, the crew, normally they are introducing, as an example, sometimes when the Japanese go, they introduce Japanese items to the space food. And also, I can remember the South Korean, the first astronaut went to the space in 2008, and she introduced kimchi. So they spend millions of money to find a kimchi pattern, kimchi type to introduce to the space. So it is kind of the value and the expectations, right? It is inspirations, of course. And if we are very good scientists, they really like it. It means we can balance actually not only the same one culture person. If the cultural person introduced one food product, the others also will enjoy the food, right? That is the thing. Okay, when comes, are there any ongoing research or future trends in space food development that we find particularly exciting or promising? Of course, there are a lot. So, like as an example, I also worked in some kind of cinnamon related project. So there are a lot. So I showed you some kind of future trends actually. So it's a very good question, Gimhani. And also, I think there are a lot. So I cannot just highlight one. Any more questions? So I'm happy that if you are not asking questions, not participating in discussions. You are very good in questioning. How do you ensure the safety and quality of space food during long duration missions? Normally, if we can send the safe food, normally contacting like contamination while doing the space is not much happening. But if we are like exposing or we are landing on some kind of another planet and then come back, then there is a possibility. But other than that, normally microbes we are taking. So normally we are taking very sterilized environment. We are maintaining very safe environment, very aseptic conditions we are maintaining in the space, like the inside this space. So we have to measure, we have to do the experiments here before we send. Any more questions?
Yeah, I think that's all. Thank you very much, madam. Share your knowledge with us.
Okay, thank you very much then. Okay, have a good day then.
We are now preparing to capture this moment with photograph. So, ladies and gentlemen, you all are requested to turn on your camera. Let's capture this memorable moment together. You all are requested to turn on your cameras. Let's capture this memorable moment together. Thank you all. Thank you once again, madam, sharing your knowledge with us.
𝗏 is the national level competition. Competitors are required to create a nutrition supplement for astronauts using Sri Lankan indigenous medicinal herbs. To create nutrition supplement for astronauts, you can use Sri Lankan indigenous medicinal herbs as the main ingredient, and you should reduce using chemicals.
Your product must be distinct and should not replicate existing items. The nutrition supplement primarily must consist of raw materials sourced from Sri Lankan indigenous medicinal herbs. Minimize the use of synthetic chemicals during the production of the supplement. The flow of competition. In the first round, we have planned research proposal submission. Likewise, in the second round, we hope to select the 10 best research proposals. As third round, from the selected research proposals and select the most creative and qualitative productivity among them.
We support you by conducting 3 webinars. In the first webinar, we talked about research proposal writing. Today is our second webinar, and we are going to talk about how to use raw materials to make space food. In third webinar, we will talk about how to apply for a patent. You should participate in 𝗏𝗏 because it is a national competition, so it has a good recognition, and we give each participant a valuable certificate for participants, and this is a huge opportunity to bring national attention to your work. And also, our team assists our winners in securing a patent for their product. Now, we are coming to the end of our today's session. I invite co-chairperson of New Fora 23, 𝗥𝘄 to deliver the vote of thanks.
Good evening to you all. I hope that you all have gained many valuable knowledge from in today's session. We are really happy for your participation in this webinar. First of all, I would like to express my gratitude to Dr. 𝗥𝘄 𝗠𝗁𝗏, who joined with us as the key resource person, and thank you, madam, for delivering a interaction session for us. I would like to express huge thanks to SEDS OUSL chapter advisors, Professor Rohan Senathira, Dr. Ruvinda Vimalasiri, and Dr. Chamila Dias. And I thank all the board members of SED Sri Lanka for their dedicated support. I would like to thank all the executive committee members and all the other members of all divisions of SEDS OUSL. And I take this moment to thank the organizing committee members of New Fora 23 and lot of thanks to our moderators of today's event. Many thanks to all the participants who gave their times for this valuable webinar session. Once again, thank you very much to all of you who helped in any way to make this a successful one. I sincerely request you all to join with us upcoming sessions. Thank you. Have a nice day.
All right. Today is our second webinar, new for our webinar series. So thank you once again, our guest speaker and all the participants for joining with us. Stay tuned. We will meet again with next third webinar of New Fora 23.